Today I'm going to be talking about a product from Behr, and it's BEHR Dynasty. This is their lifetime warranty paint. It's got a 10-year color fade protection warranty on it. Also, I recently got the opportunity to use this product for the first time on an exterior repaint that I recently just did. I'm going to give you some of my thoughts, some of my experiences, and give you a full review of this product. So if you're interested in hearing what I have to say about BEHR Dynasty, stay tuned for this video. The exterior that I did, I used two different sheens. I used a satin and I used a matte finish. BEHR Dynasty comes in matte, it comes in eggshell, comes in satin and semi-gloss. I used satin and I used flat. I used flat on the stucco, used satin on the rest of the house, including the trim, the door, and the body. So the first key point I want to talk about is, does a paint hang very well? And what do I mean by hang very well? What I mean is, does it run, drip, or sag when you're applying it with a brush or roller or sprayer? Now, we had the opportunity to spray it on multiple garage doors. We sprayed it on a man door. We also brushed and rolled it on trim. I'm gonna say, I don't believe I saw anywhere on the entire house where we had a run, drip, or sag. So I think it performed exceptionally well when it comes to its hang ability and hang time. We did apply it in some cool temperatures, which typically lends a paint the opportunity to run, drip, or sag, especially on like a metal door. The two garage doors they sprayed, they hung very well. And typically when I'm applying paint, I'm applying it super thick because I want it to be above and beyond the mill thickness, so the client or customer does get their warranty and there's no issues with that. And we want it to cover very well, so we're applying it pretty thick, and that does lend paint to actually running or dripping or sagging. Once again, nowhere on this house through our application process did we see a run, drip, or sag, so I was very happy with its hang ability. All right, the next key point I want to talk about is coverage, and does the product cover very well? So one thing I had an experience with is spraying the front door. Front door was kind of a vibrant blue, and typically if I'm using a vibrant blue on any light color, we're going to have to undercoat it with like a P4 gray or something like that because it's not going to cover very well. I just shot it with an airless sprayer, shot it with one coat, pretty heavy. I was absolutely amazed. Covered in one coat, didn't have to reshoot the door. The door absolutely looked amazing. So that did cover very well. Another thing I noticed, we were using almost a pure white on all the trim. Usually pure whites don't cover very well in all the major manufacturers of paint that I've ever used. It covered extremely well. We did two coat it. We typically two coat all of our trim anyways, but it covered almost in one coat on the first coat. The body covered in one coat, no problem. So the cover was extremely well. What I also noticed about the paint is the coverage was so exceptionally well that I didn't even use that as much paint as I thought I'd be using on the exterior of the house. It used significantly less paint, but the coverage was absolutely incredible with all the colors we used. We used kind of a dark color on the fascia, almost covered, in one coat. We applied a second coat and was absolutely 100% covered. BEHR Dynasty does have a color palette that's guaranteed to cover in one coat. I've actually experienced on interior paints with a one coat coverage, colors absolutely covered in one coat, no questions, hands down. Now they do have an exterior palette that is guaranteed to cover in one coat. The colors that we used, I think one of them was off the one coat color palette. I think that was the body of the house. It definitely covered in one coat, being sprayed, a spray application. So another key point I want to talk about is dry time. Now, dry time is extremely important to us because on the exterior that I was working on, we were using 4 colors. Most of the houses I'm using or painting typically have 3 to 5 colors on them. When you have multiple colors like that, you got accent colors, you typically got overlapping colors, and you need a paint that's going to dry quick so you can mask on the color you applied and apply the next color, that's going to be the overlapping color. You want a paint that's going to dry fast so your team can move around the house and paint, extremely fast. Behr's paint, the BEHR Dynasty, has a 1 hour dry time and a 2 hour recoat time. Gotta say, it definitely dried extremely fast. I was able to same day, mask on some of the colors that was applied and then apply other colors, like doing the stucco, spraying the stucco, masking over the stucco, and then spraying the soffits, or rough brushing and rolling the door jamb or the garage door jamb and then letting the door down at the end of the day. It does have a exceptional block resistance, and what I'm talking about by that is if you paint the front door, because we sprayed the front door and then we rehang the front door same day, you got to be able to close that front door. You got to have a paint that dries fast and has good block resistance. The block time on Behr Dynasty is approximately 4 hours, so now that door can close. It's not going to stick to the weather strips. Garage doors can close. If you got paint on the other side of the rubber weather strips, it's not going to stick to the freshly painted garage door either because of the block time. And so the dry time, I'm going to say, performed like we needed to on a house that had multiple colors. So the next thing I want to talk about is wet overspray control. Now this is something, it just comes down to liability, and what I'm talking about is wet overspray control. When you're watching me spray, you'll see this video and you're going to see what you think as overspray in the air with an airless sprayer, and you're getting atomization of the paint, and through that atomization process you're getting water vapors that are flashing off in the air, you're getting chemicals that are flashing off in the air, and sometimes you could get wet paint droplets that are coming down in the air. I've had the experience of using paints in the past that when I'm actually spraying overhead, you can just feel paint raining down on you. That wet paint that you're feeling hitting you is going to hit plants, it's going to hit concrete, it's going to hit the roof. That's ultimately going to become a big liability, and you don't want to feel wet droplets of paint hitting you. That would be a paint that doesn't have good wet overspray control. Now the product that we're using, you definitely can see some chemicals flashing in the air while I'm spraying, but there was no wet overspray on anything, not on the roofs, not on the plants, and not on the concrete. It performed exceptionally well when it came to the wet overspray control. When I was spraying the soffits in the entryway, when I was spraying the soffits around the house, didn't feel any wet paint hitting my face, didn't have any wet paint on me. So I think it performed, very well when it comes to wet overspray control. Now when it comes to exterior repaints, I only use lifetime warranty products for my customers and clients. Behr Dynasty has a lifetime warranty on the product, a limited lifetime warranty, but also this is the only paint I've ever seen that has a color fade protection warranty. So this is a 10-year color fade protection warranty, and I'm super excited about that because no paint has ever covered color fade. I've even seen lifetime warranty paints in the past that have faded within 5 years. Now you have the protection by Behr to have color fade protection on a paint. Now they do have a palette of colors that has that you got to choose from to have that color fade protection warranty, but I think it's absolutely incredible. I love the warranty on the product. Once again, always use products that have lifetime warranty, and Behr Dynasty offers that. So I noticed, Behr Dynasty, it seemed like it had a high solid content, a high resin content, and I had to change just a little bit about, the spray application. I did turn down the pressure on my pump significantly. Typically, I would be spraying around 2200 PSI. I dropped it all the way down to 1600 PSI to spray to control, any dust, any overspray, and turning the pressure down helped control the overspray and help the application process. So I did notice that it typically was running and spraying better, applying it when I ran my pressure significantly lower. So the next that I want to talk about is Behr's ability to resist rain within 60 minutes. So I did have the opportunity, one of the days, to apply it. I sprayed the body of the house, and it did rain pretty hard that evening. We didn't have the downspouts back up. Came back the next day, where the water was splattering up on the house, it was not an issue. So that is one of the kind of cool things about Behr Dynasty, rain resistant in 60 minutes. So you could look at the weather report. It could show possible rain showers in the afternoon. If you start spraying in the morning, you give the paint 60 minutes to dry, it's going to be rain resistant within 60 minutes. So that's a cool feature about the product that we did experience with it right on the job. Another thought I want to talk about is white paint. So I had the opportunity to use multiple whites on this house. Almost every white paint that I've ever used with all exterior paints, and that even goes for interior paints, they splatter and drip off your brush or roller notoriously bad. I noticed with BEHR Dynasty that it hung on the brush, hung on the roller very well, didn't have any drips or splatters coming off my brushes and rollers when applying it, and it did hang very well brushing on door jambs. So that's a thought I just wanted to share with you on the product. So some final thoughts on BEHR Dynasty. Give you a before and after here. Gotta say, the house looked absolutely amazing. The matte finish wasn't too shiny, wasn't too flat on the stucco. We want the stucco to look natural like stucco, so we used a matte finish on the stucco. On the body, the trim, the fascia, and the door, we used a satin finish. Some paints, typically the satin finish has too high of a sheen. It looks a little bit too plasticky. I gotta say the satin finish looked absolutely amazing. The sheen was just right. A few other thoughts about Behr paint. It is a low temp paint, down to 35 degrees. So if you're trying to paint in low temp conditions, that's the temperature down to that you can paint it in. You can paint it in up to 90 degrees. So if you're painting in cold climates or hot climates, you have a wide range that you can apply the paint. So is BEHR Dynasty a product that I would use? BEHR Dynasty is a product that I would actually put on my own house. It is BEHR Dynasty, exclusively sold at Home Depot.